I know this topic extremely well after experiencing it myself with my own children as babies. So thankfully, I navigated through it with my own children, but still, all those years later on, I see the pattern in parents today. Let me paint a picture in my office. A child has a prescription for eczema creams and it just won't quit, and they've got the seasonal allergy antihistamines or skin reactions that just flare up all of a sudden, or they even might have a gastroenterologist appointment for their tummy aches that just never seem to get better. So in this video, I will recover the barrier hypothesis, what I wish I understood better 20 years ago. I'll share that with you. 3 key signs to discuss with your practitioner, and I'll also discuss a holistic roadmap to healing your child. The parents often ask me, why does this cream, it works, but then it comes back? So this pharmaceutical cream seems to be working, but it comes back. So why is that? So there's no doubt that there's definitely improvement with that cream, but the body's not really healed inside. There's something deeper under the water that's going on, under the iceberg theory. What's going on? And that's what we've got to get to. So the real discussion lies in the suppression of the symptoms versus the resolution of the root cause. That root cause we want to get to. So when you suppress a skin reaction, you're effectively asking the body to stop screaming for help, and not listening to those signs. But the body is incredibly intelligent. Our body's amazing. We simply find another outlet for the frustration and the detoxing to occur. If the skin is stopped from spilling the immune load and the inflammation and the toxins, the internal pressure remains. So often, this is when the digestive issues intensify, or there's a previously mild seasonal allergy or skin reaction, and it turns into chronic congestion. So in my practice, I look for patterns. So everyone's an individual. What's going on for that person or that child? So if the child has chronic ear infection history, or they're a picky eater, or they've got dry, bumpy skin patches on the back of their arms, I'm not looking for 3 separate specialist referrals. I'm looking at a child whose inflammatory pathways are stuck in the on position and look at fixing the root cause. So what's the bigger picture in the body saying? The conventional model usually approaches them as 3 separate issues, right? They give you a referral for a dermatologist for the skin, and a gastroenterologist for the gut, and an immunologist for the allergies to do some tests. But these specialists, then they reach for the pharmacological toolbox. So is there a corticosteroid to suppress the skin inflammation, acid suppressor or a laxative for the gut, or antihistamine for the allergies? So we want to try to get the root cause and move away from those individual pill for a problem approach. Now, what if I told you if they aren't 3 separate problems? So if we zoom out, the biological map of a child's tells much more bigger story. There's much more to it. These aren't 3 separate malfunctions in that system. They're often the same underlying imbalance. When I look at a child dealing with multiple things going on, it's almost always a conversation of the body's primary barriers, the skin and the gut lining. They're really paramount to getting to the root of that, and how they've really lost their ability to keep that equilibrium of wellness. So the barrier hypothesis, the body's gate, that's what I'm going to talk about now. What I wish parents knew is the skin and the gut are essentially 2 sides of the same issue. To understand why these issues are connected, we must look at the body's barrier system, the skin, the gut mucosa, and even the respiratory tract, because that's a mucous membrane as well. So in a healthy child, these barriers act like a selective security gate, letting some things in, and nutrients and water, but they keep out the pathogens, the toxins, and the undigested food particles. When one barrier, the lungs or the gut, is compromised, the load on the others increase. So this is often referred to as leaky gut, intestinal permeability, but it's better understood as a breakdown of the systemic immune barrier relationship. So there's a system called the gut-skin axis, and the skin is sometimes referred to as the 3rd kidney, detoxing, and more accurately, the external reflection of the gut. So when the gut lining is inflamed, the immune system becomes hypervigilant. It reacts to try to digest undigested proteins, and they slip through the leaky gut into the bloodstream. And this chronic low-grade inflammation is all through the body, and it manifests on the skin as eczema because the body is attempting to get rid of that burden of that systemic toxicity through the pores and the sweat. And the gut immune axis as well, there's roughly 70 to 80% of our immune system that resides in the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. It's called the GOLT. Now, if the gut microbiome is dysbiotic, meaning the ratio of beneficial bacteria to the opportunistic pathogenic organisms is out, the immune system loses its teacher on that surface for the immune system. Instead, it's learning to attack itself rather than, because those are in the system. So the immune system becomes misaligned and begins to attack the pollen or the dander or the dairy or the gluten, and there's an allergic response inside the system. Now, 3 signs to discuss with your practitioner. If you are sitting there wondering if your child's health 3 things are connected, we'll consider these 3 markers that are frequently talked about with families. I recommend discussing them too with your practitioner or myself if you want to have a consult. So number 1, the food-mood link. Does your child become irritable, hyperactive, or unusually lethargic shortly after eating certain meals or foods? So this isn't just picky behavior. Sometimes they choose what they want to eat or they're addicted to things. This is the gut-brain connection. And it's literally waving a red flag. Hey, there's something here in the internal environment. And that's a sign of inflammation too. Number 2, the geography of the skin. Are the skin issues moving? Do they flare up after different patterns depending on the seasons or after specific foods? Skin should be a silent protective barrier. It's our largest organ in our body, and when it starts participating in the digestive or immune conversation, it's a sign that the gatekeeper is overwhelmed in that gut. Number 3, the lingering mucus. Does your child always seem to have a runny nose or persistent clearing of the throat? Or breathing difficulties as well while they're sleeping, like snoring, or even if they aren't sick, but they've got that mucus. So mucus is an immune response. If it's constantly there, your child's immune system is effectively trying to recover. It's putting that mucus out there to protect the mucus barrier. It's quite smart. It's trying to soothe it and cover it. We just need to help it calm down and not be so overreactive. Now, the holistic roadmap, healing from the inside out. If you are an overwhelmed parent, you need to stop chasing the symptoms and start looking at the bigger picture, the holistic model. And I'm glad you're watching this video to work that out and learn the tools. So this is how I approach my patients in my practice, with 3 main pillars. Think outside of the box. Consider the herbal toolbox. While nutrition provides the essential building blocks for repair, herbal medicine acts as a sophisticated signal translator. It's quite amazing, that plant, what it can do. It's more than just one action, and it helps the body modulate its own inflammatory response. For a child caught in that cycle of skin, gut, immune dysregulation, plants can do more than what pharmaceuticals often cannot. They work in harmony with the system rather than simply shutting down a symptom. I'll give you some examples. They have more than one action, and they work wonderfully in that synergistic effect with each other. When I integrate herbal medicines in pediatric protocols with patients, I'm often looking for 3 specific actions: demulcent, alteratives, and carminatives. Demulcents like marshmallow or slippery elm, they're so beautiful, so soothing. And they're herbs that contain mucilage. That's a gummy, soothing substance that coats the inflammatory lining of the gut, and that really calms down the inflammation. And by physically protecting that damaged mucosa, that reduces the leaky gut effect, and it soothes the system and prevents undigested food particles from triggering the secondary immune system on the skin. Now, alteratives, they're often called blood cleansers. They're essential for children whose system are bogged down and the toxic load in their whole blood and lymphatics. Herbs like burdock root or red clover, they help support the liver and kidneys, and they're a natural detoxification of the body. Now, when the internal environment is cleaner, the body no longer feels that biological urge to vent toxins out through the skin via eczema. Now, finally, I use carminatives, or just the name carminatives, chamomile and lemon balm, so beautiful for the nervous system and calming effect on the nervous system, but also for their ability to relieve that spasmodic gut tension and in the gut and the muscles and support healthy digestion. A calm gut is a gut that can absorb nutrients properly. Unlike synthetic medications, these herbs work in rhythm with the child's physiology. They teach the body to regulate their own histamine responses and inflammatory cascades. By gently nudging the immune system towards a state of balance and homeostasis, a herbal medicine provides a really key component in that: vitality and natural support for the system, and it helps your child transition from a state of chronic inflammation to one that's more balanced and vibrant health. So, number 2, audit micronutrient status. Those nutritional deficiencies are silently working behind that allergy skin gut connection. Like quercetin. Quercetin is a bioflavonoid. It's found in colourful foods like onions and apples and berries, and it acts like a natural mast cell stabilizer. It essentially helps calm immune system allergies responses. Pantothenic acid, B5. Pantothenic acid is critical for systemic coenzyme A, which is necessary for energy production in the skin cells. So by supporting the adrenals with B5, they're effectively talking to that system and calming it off and bringing down the pressure for the immune system. Omega-3 fatty acids as well, can't leave that one out. The diet's often high in omega-6s, and they're pro-inflammatory fats. Reducing the vegetable oils and increase high-quality DHA, EPA is essential for balancing those fatty acids. Now, number 3, rebuild the microbiome, the seed, weed, feed approach. That's classic naturopathic approach. Weed, we're going to address the underlying overgrowth of inflammatory organisms without the necessity of using antibiotics. We want to gently shift the balance. Natural antimicrobes like garlic, oregano oil, they can work, sometimes tricky in children, or we can use other herbs as well. Feeding as well, probiotic foods, and seeding those foundation fibers as well, like root vegetables, globe artichoke, Jerusalem artichoke. There's so many to talk about. Now, also foods as information, not just fuel. Rather than just identifying the allergies, we look at the burden of the diet. Many children reacting to foods are not allergic to the food in a sense. It's their immune systems that are overwhelmed and overreacting. By removing high inflammatory triggers, typically like high sugars, high processed grains, A1 casein dairy for a period, it helps give your child like a reset for that period of time. Then you can do the work, calm it down, and then there's improvement and they can have those foods. And what I see in clinic, thinking back to all the children that I've helped, these are similarities like the ones I've discussed. Each child has their own individual path to healing. Parenting in modern age, it feels like walking through a minefield of health. It's everywhere on the internet and you're getting it from family members. I can't stress it enough. Step back, take a breath, look at the whole picture and try not to be overwhelmed. The pharmaceutical model relies on the idea that your child is broken and there's a chemical intervention to function. But in reality, your child's symptoms are just communicating that imbalance in the system. Eczema is a plea for systemic response, and allergies are a request for immune education, and gut issues are a message about health rather than microbiome, organisms, and digestion. When we listen to these signs rather than suppressing them, we stop patching up problems and start building resilience and robust little human beings the way they're meant to be. If your child is stuck in a cycle looking towards that foundational pillars: clean water, nutrient-dense foods, soil play, and the reduction of synthetic chemical exposure. It's not always an easy path. I have to say that. It's a ongoing task to nurture little great healthy children. But you know that health will last. And this is the only fraction of the steps to get your child on the path to ultimate wellness. Keep learning and watch this next video right here.